You are also small business owners, or you're thinking about starting your own business, so I wanted to try and pass some wisdom and try to help you guys along in your own journeys. Hello little daisies, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Victoria and I'm the owner of Lazy Daisy Creations. In these videos I bring you guys behind the scenes of what it's like in the day-to-day of a small business owner, and usually I show you guys me making my stuff, the development of my collections, and kind of all me making stuff. But today I thought we would do something a little bit different because I had a look, and this month marks officially the 1 year anniversary of me being on YouTube, which is kind of crazy. Now I say officially because I did take like a 2 or 3 month break from YouTube, so I wasn't consistently posting the whole entire year, but technically it is the 1 year anniversary this month that I started posting. So I thought we could do something a little bit different and just do more of like a Q&A video and kind of answer all your questions, because I know that so many of you guys that watch these videos, that leave your lovely comments on my videos, you are also small business owners, or you're thinking about starting your own business. So I wanted to try and pass some wisdom and try to help you guys along in your own journeys. So hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and make your own mistakes, not the same mistakes that I've done. So hopefully learn from them. And I thought it might be a way of us to kind of getting to know each other a little bit more. So I kind of opened up here on the community tab and also on Instagram for you guys to send through your questions. I didn't put any limits or anything. I said business, YouTube, personal, whatever you guys wanted to know, I'd be open to answering. So I've kind of compilated the answers here, and some of them were a little bit similar. So I'm going to do like a general kind of answer to a few of those questions that are in the similar theme. And hopefully you guys have a good time. So grab a drink, grab your coffee and get cozy, and let's get to know each other a little bit better. Let's go. So before we get really started, I also just wanted to do a little disclaimer and say that all my thoughts and opinions are based on my own experience with my own business so far in the 4 years that I've been a small business owner. So please take everything I say with a grain of salt, and it doesn't mean that it's the right thing. That's what worked for me. These are the lessons I've learned. This is the knowledge that I've gathered based on my own experience, and your own personal experiences might be a little bit different. So I guess just a little bit of backstory before we get started. If you haven't seen me before, if you haven't watched any of my videos, I work mainly with polymer clay and I make mainly earrings, but I do make a lot of other kind of accessories and jewelry pieces. I have been open since 2020. I think it was September, October or November of 2020. So I have officially been open for 4 years now, which is kind of crazy. And my business the whole time has been with polymer clay. At the start I was doing hair clips, and then I slowly evolved to doing earrings, and now I've kind of, you know, fully embraced the earring era for quite a few years. Over the past couple of years I did introduce a few new products into the shop as well, and I do sell quite a big mix of like accessories and things like that, not only polymer clay. And I also sell online and also at markets. So that's just a little backstory so you're all caught up. Now let's go to the questions. So I thought that would be a nice little segue into getting started with our first question, which is, how old is your business and how did you get such a good following on socials? And also another one that's kind of similar to that one, and is, how long did it take for you to go full time? So as I mentioned before, I've had my business for over 4 years now. I started in November-ish 2020, so just gone over 4 years now, which is kind of insane to think about because I feel like I've just started. And it took me about 6 months to go full time. Now, this is where the kind of disclaimer comes in, because 2020 and 2021 was a whole other time. We all know that. So things that worked back then do not really work now. But I think along with a lot of other people that started their businesses in 2020 and 2021, we were very lucky in the sense of times were different. No one could buy anything apart from online. So whoever started an online business at that time actually did really, really well. And that was that was a big part of how I got so many followers and how my social media kind of blew up as much as it did, is because I started in that period where everyone was online. No one had any other chance to buy anything else elsewhere. So it kind of was the perfect time for me to start, although it wasn't planned and it wasn't something that we knew at the time. I don't think anyone that started then actually knew that it was going to be such a good time. But I think I can kind of give credit to the timing as to how I was able to get such a big following, because I did a lot less than what is kind of required for the small businesses today. And even I can't keep up with what I feel is being required from small businesses these days. You know, all these reels and constantly having to create content. That's not something that we did back then. Literally all I did at the start to kind of get a following is I posted twice a day. That's what I did, and just a photo. We just had photos back then. We didn't have reels back then. We didn't even have videos. I'm pretty sure we didn't have videos on YouTube back then. So all I did was take some really nice photos and post those photos twice a day, or maybe the first year and a half. And unfortunately, that was all I did. And that was what gave me the bulk of the followers that I still have now. But in saying that, you know, disclaimer of how things have changed, myself and a lot of other people that did get that bunch of followers from the start or from the pandemic times, a lot of us have lost a lot of followers too. So that's something too that makes us a bit uncomfortable to maybe talk about, but that's the reality. It's like, it's not just trying to get new followers nowadays, but it's also about keeping them, and that's not something that we kind of had to worry about. We didn't have to compete with TikTok. We didn't have to always be showing up on reels. Even for me stories were a bit new. And anyway, I hope that answers that question. All right, the next question is, what is your favorite YouTube video that you've done? I don't think I really have a favorite. I think I like all of them equally. I don't have like a standout favorite. Now, as far as in making them, I have started to slowly like doing that more and more. I really despised doing it at the start, I'm not gonna lie, because it took me so long. I had no idea what I was doing. I taught myself how to edit, so I didn't have any skills whatsoever. So I think the fact that now, after almost a year of me making videos, posting once a week for almost a year, I've started to enjoy the editing process more now that I know how to do it better, now that I can play around with like transitions and music and things like that. So I think probably my latest vlog, my Christmas studio vlog, has been my favorite so far, just because I was able to put in so much content that actually it's split into two. There's another one coming that you guys probably would have seen last week now. I'll link them up here for you guys to see. But this like two-parter Christmas studio vlog was really fun because I had so much content. I had so many different products, so many different earrings to show you guys. So it was really fun to edit them and show as much as I could. As I'm getting more familiar with the whole editing process, I think I am enjoying it more. So I don't really have a favorite, but I do enjoy doing it a lot more than I did back then. That question kind of leads nicely into this next one, which was, what was the easiest and hardest thing about starting YouTube? So I think I kind of mentioned the hardest part was teaching myself how to edit and how to film, kind of like understand how the whole process works, how to put in music, how to kind of create atmosphere with music. And also the editing process, it's not just about putting all the clips that you have together, it's about editing. So it's about cutting out what is unnecessary. So I feel like it was a bit hard at the start to figure out what not to include, because I filmed it, I wanted to include all of it. So I think the process of learning what was unnecessary was kind of the hardest part. And I feel like I'm still not there yet, but I feel like I've gotten a lot better as I've gone on knowing, about the flow, or like how to plan a video a little bit ahead of time. So that was kind of the hardest part. Now the easiest part, what was the easiest part? I think maybe for me the easiest part or maybe a part that I was surprised was easy, was how much I would get into the whole vibe of making YouTube videos and how interested I would become about like thumbnails and titles and what gets people's attention, and actually like studying that. So for me, it was really cool to kind of do my own research about how to make thumbnails better and storytelling and things like that. So I think after the first few, I got over that roadblock of like, oh, I have to learn this whole new skill just to do this thing that I want to do. And I was a little bit surprised that I actually enjoyed doing it, and I enjoyed the sort of marketing behind it and how everything works, and researching and learning more about that. So I think that came a little bit easier than I expected it to. Oh, and also, if I can add, adding to another part of what is hard is also kind of to do with editing, but it's also, it's about kind of organizing myself so that I am quite a few videos ahead rather than doing it everything on the go. I think it was a difficult process to get to that point where I did feel like I was finally ahead and I wasn't like editing videos the night before they were supposed to be out. So yeah, so just adding that bit in there as well. Next question. How did you meet your partner and how long have you been together? Do you want kids? Interesting question. We have just celebrated our 7-year anniversary. So we've been together for 7 amazing years. And how did we meet? We actually met online. Like we met on like a dating site, and yeah, we've been together ever since. It's been kind of unbelievable because it's always the last place you look, but we really are soulmates, and I'm so lucky to have him. And the second part of the question, no, we don't want kids. We kind of decided earlier on that that really wasn't for us and we're not really interested in it. So to each their own, but no, we are not wanting to have kids. Another little personal one. Do you ever go on holiday or have days out? How do you manage the business, pets, life if you're away? Do you have any garden, grow any fruit or veg? So I'll answer the last part first. I don't grow any fruit and veg. We do have a garden, but I'm not much of a green thumb. So no, I don't, unfortunately. And do I ever go on holidays or have days out? So not really is the answer. To give context, I say we because my partner is also self-employed, so we kind of have a very similar schedule. So we kind of knew and acknowledged that we would kind of have to give up a few things to be able to live life in this sort of lifestyle of being self-employed that we desperately wanted to. So we knew from the start we weren't going to be having a lot of days off or holidays and stuff like that, and we're kind of okay with that because being self-employed, the obviously good part of it is that you don't have such a strict schedule all the time. So instead of having, you know, waiting to have a break on Saturday and Sunday, we kind of can have a break during the week whenever we want, or if something comes up or if we need to go out to do something, we can just do it straight away rather than waiting for the weekend. And then when the weekend comes, it's not really a weekend, it's just a normal working day for us. So we kind of balance it out in that sense of not having a strict working days and non-working days. It kind of is, you know, if we're not feeling it that day, we kind of take a day off. If we want to work, we want to work. If we want to do a half day of work, we do that. We kind of go with how we're feeling. Based on obviously our schedules, as in what needs to be done. For me personally, when I get closer to a deadline or a market or a big launch, I'm working a lot more hours than my, you know, usual days, and that's fine. So I balance it out with having a little bit more free time any other day. So we don't have like set days off, we don't have like days for holidays, but if we do want to do something, we can do it whenever we want. We tend to nowadays kind of do stuff during the week because there's less people, it's cheaper, so we can be more flexible in that sense. And we still do the things that we want to do, it's just in a little bit of a different timetable than everyone else. And just adding to that, how I manage the business around that. It's kind of, if you're self-employed, you know, it's a 24/7 thing. I can't have days where I'm not working or that I'm not on, I'm not answering emails, I'm not, you know, being online. I'm always working. So the
managing of the business is going on 24/7. If I'm on holiday or if I'm having a day off and something urgently needs to be dealt with, I need to deal with that. It's part of the situation that we're in. So we kind of, you know, have to do things, you know, sometimes we're away or we're having a day off or like at a family, you know, gathering, and I need to stop and go do something work related. I need to answer an email, or I need to make a launch live or do a sale, something like that, and then that needs to be done and dealt with immediately. So hopefully that answers your question. So I feel like everything is a little bit more going with the flow, but for us it works, and we get more done and we work more now than we ever did when we had like a strict 9 to 5 Monday to Fridays. It's just interesting. I feel like people can really get a lot more done when they listen to their bodies and they're, you know, working when they feel like they want to work. If you're a night owl, if you're a morning person, do what works for you rather than what's dictated. But obviously not many people can do that, but there are some sacrifices that come with that as well.
This next one I really like. So has the move to YouTube been a natural one or a result of less view in other socials? Because I'm finding it so hard. Okay, first of all, I feel you, girl. And second, kind of yes. So I have been struggling with socials. I mean, my socials means Instagram. I don't really do TikTok or anything else. So I've been struggling with Instagram probably the past year or so, or year and a half, because the way that it's currently set up for business owners, in order for you to grow or maintain your followers, you have to be doing reels. Now, I don't have a problem with doing reels specifically, but the amount of reels that are necessary for you to be constantly in new followers' eyes is insane if you're actually running a business. If your business is being a content creator or a marketing guru, that's easy. Anything that is not product based is easier in my view to make like batch content or to make reels or to just follow trends. But I feel like with product based businesses, it's insanely hard to keep up that amount of content that you need to be pushing out. And it's just something else for us to be stressed about and thinking about on top of everything else. So for me personally, it just wasn't working, and I kind of was trying to find another way of having a community and having a relationship with my followers, but without having that pressure of creating, in my view, useless content just for the sake of staying relevant. I create content for my own business using my products in order to sell my products. That's all that I'm doing. I feel like most of what I talk about is business related, and that's kind of how I want to keep it. So YouTube has been something that's been in the back of my mind for a while now, and I have so many lovely creators that I follow here on YouTube that I admire so much. Especially if you guys know Catherine from Catnip Studios. She was probably my #1 inspiration and motivation to kind of start doing YouTube, because I saw a way that she kind of showed herself and brought the viewer closer to her, but also while being focused around her business. So that's something that I really wanted to do. It was kind of a trial. I didn't know if YouTube was gonna work, and I guess I still don't know. But once I did get a few videos there, I started getting feedback from this whole new community that I hadn't tapped into before. And I actually discovered that they were a lot more welcoming and a lot more what I was craving than any other social media platforms that I've been a part of. And it was just such a lovely surprise, because I was not expected to be taken care of and embraced so much as I have been by you guys here on YouTube, which is kind of insane. You guys are amazing. So yeah, this is the kind of community that I wanted, and people saying things like, just watch whatever you put out, I don't really care. Like, for someone to be told that after years of grinding on Instagram to feed the algorithm and like hop on trends and do things like that, it was such a lovely change of pace. And so it was a sort of natural move, because I think this is more the community that I was after. I'm giving people what I'm able to give
to them and they're really happy with what they're watching. So I think that now that I know that I can be consistent and I have learned how to be consistent on YouTube, I think that now the move is going to be a little bit more serious and more thought through, I guess, than it has been. It was kind of just a trial at the start, but now I know this is kind of where I want to be. This is my little home at the moment. So I think this YouTube is the way to go. At least it's the way that I am feeling the best in showing myself here and really connecting with others. So I keep talking too much, but I think this kind of answers your question. But yes, it was a result of less views, but also a result of trying to find a better platform for the kind of connections that I was craving. So yeah, I know I can feel you. I feel you that it's hard, and maybe you can try and find the platform that will work for you, because there's no point of just trying to, you know, running on that hamster wheel and always feeling like you're behind, always feeling like you don't know what you're doing. Maybe YouTube is a place for you to try and see if you can just run at your own pace, and maybe that might work. All right, we got a few more questions. Next one is, you mentioned sales have been down this year compared to others in your business, other years in your business. What did you do to stay afloat / motivated? So if you've been following me at all, especially here on YouTube, you will probably have seen that I have not been always motivated. This year has been really tough, really tough. Not just for me, everyone has been feeling it, especially this year, and so many businesses have closed this year. So I know it's not just me. So specifically what I did to stay afloat, to stay motivated this year, I kind of panicked. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of was freaking out for most of this year, still kind of am, because things are really unpredictable right now, and everyone keeps saying that things are gonna look up next year. And although I want to be positive about it, we just don't know. We don't know what next year is gonna bring. So apart from panicking, some of the things that I did do this year to kind of stay afloat is, as soon as, actually everyone keeps talking about this year, but I've mentioned a few times that for me, the changes actually started last year, around October, like so around Halloween last year is when I started to notice a decline in sales. So I think from then I was kind of, you know, alerted straight away that something was wrong, because I had been going, you know, 3 years essentially with sales being the same level, if not slightly more every time. So for them to go down, there was something that was giving me some red flags. So immediately, I think October-ish, I started noticing a decline in sales. November last year, I kind of sprung into action where I was seeing that online I wasn't selling as much, but in person I was still selling. So straight away I'm like, okay, that's the direction we have to go. November of last year, I booked markets almost the entire month, which at the time was different for me because I was only doing maybe 2 markets a month compared to now. You can see in my calendar, compared to now, how many markets I have in a month is probably like 8 or 9 sometimes. So first thing that I think I did right this year is to spring into action immediately. Rather than sit around and wait for things to get better, I sprung into action and I'm like, okay, what is working? Let's jump towards that. So I booked as many markets as I could. This whole year has been focused just on markets, and although markets have declined as well, like sales have declined, it has been enough to keep me afloat, but it also has its downside. So I'm also feeling like the burnout of a whole year of focused on in-person events as well. So I'm kind of paying for it now, but it is what I needed to do to keep afloat at the time. So my advice to you is to take a step back and really be business minded when it comes to these kinds of things, and not to take it personally like your product is the problem. But sit back and analyze. It could be that you could do some changes to your product, but if it most likely is how are you actually selling it, how are you getting it in front of customers, that might be the biggest change that you can make. So if things are doing well online, focus on online. If they're doing well in person, focus on in person. And just, I always say, follow the money. You have to keep doing what works for your business, especially in times like this. You don't really have a lot of choice. And something else that I always talk about here is about being resilient and being open to change. I find that a lot of the businesses that I've been hearing about that are closing, I kind of didn't see them try anything else before they closed. It was kind of like, online sales stopped, I'm just going to close my business. I'm not saying that's the case, but it looks like from an outsider point of view that not much had been done to try and pivot, to try and maybe add new products or sell at a different place. Because I guess a lot of people got comfortable with the kind of end of pandemic sales online were just coming. You didn't have to do much about it. So I feel a lot of people this year have felt the shock of what it really is like to have to work for every single sale that you make. And a lot of people are not prepared to do that, or prepared to change how they've been doing things to allow for a pivot or allow for the business to continue in a different way. And just to add to that point as well, like I mentioned, doing the markets have taken their toll on me, but it is what I needed to do this year. But with that in mind, and knowing that I cannot continue at this pace, I already have other plans and other steps in mind for how I'm going to be changing my business come next year. So I'm not going to be stagnant and be doing the same thing over and over again if it's not working. So you have to be open to change. You have to know how to pivot, and pivot quickly in business, in my opinion. That's what I think anyway. Hopefully that answered your question. All right, guys, I hope I was able to answer all the questions. Sorry I couldn't get to every single one of them, but I think that we covered a whole variety of things. If you guys want me to do a part 2, or if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments and I can either reply to them there, or I can think about making another video. But yeah, I think that comes to the end of it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know what your thoughts are. If you have any comments about any of the questions, any of the answers, please like this video if you can. It does help the channel so much. And subscribe if you haven't yet. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It helps me. Okay, and then you get notifications when I have other videos. So why are you not doing it? I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.